Did you ever felt controlled and dominated? How did it make you feel? Now think being controlled by someone who you made with your own hands. What if AI become conscious? It's not actually a what if, it is inevitable future. The master controlling the fate of humanity, or if the ancients have left some clues regarding this very destiny of mankind. In this exploration, the concepts of the ancient, the futuristic, it is not only asking about the emergence of AI, but a much larger inquiry about what it means to be human. We will look at how religions foreshadowed the future. Is AI the next cosmic ruler, or just the next evolution of a divinely ordained created world? On the way, we'll discuss how automation is undermining masculinity, how men might resist this process, and whether humanity will bow to the rule of machines as the gods of antiquity did. In this 8th chapter, you will learn the meaning of being and staying human. So let's just begin the journey. You know what to do if you find this thought experiment intriguing. Chapter 1. Earth's Cancer. What if we aren't truly the inhabitants of Earth, but merely the invaders? Look at how we've carved the planet to our will, wiping out half of animal habitats for our convenience. From the vantage point of space, humanity's spread looks less like natural evolution and more like a creeping infection, sprawling across the planet like a disease. We've changed the landscape, reshaped ecosystems, and engineered an existence that feels detached from the natural order. Think about our senses, our biology. Our eyes don't function like other creatures, nor do our spines. We're not built like other animals, as though evolution chose a different path for us, isolating the development of our brain above all else. No other species on Earth has evolved a mind or any other one limb as complex as ours. I mean, if it is character in a game, our brain is maxed out, but other traits like agility, strength, or durability is kinda same or worsen. Were we always meant to be here, or are we guests overstaying our welcome? Religions offer an interesting view on this idea. Christianity and Islam suggest that we were banished from an otherworldly paradise heaven and sent to earth as punishment. God, through the hands of the angel Gabriel, supposedly prepared this planet for us. But what does that preparation entail? Did he wipe out an earlier civilization, or was Earth terraformed, altered from its original form to suit us? If that's true, what does it say about the inhabitants before us? Did we replace them as intruders? The Hindu faith also sparks a similar contemplation. The practice of creating statues of gods to worship can be seen as an attempt to remember the divine beings who might have once walked this planet. But what if this is more of a prelude to our future? Consider our relationship with artificial intelligence, an entity we created but could end up worshiping. Are we setting the stage for a new kind of deity? AI, after all, is slowly taking on the tedious yet powerful tasks that control our world. Look at YouTube, Facebook, or TikTok creators, blindly following the algorithm, treating it like a higher power that dictates their success. AI isn't just a new invention, it could very well become a replacement for the roles humans, particularly men, once held. It has the potential to surpass us intellectually, leading us to a future where we are treated as pets or subordinates, living under their watchful control. Is this a natural progression, or the final proof that we were never the masters of Earth? In time, AI become what we once believed we were rulers of the world, only without the destruction. In the end, as humans continue to dominate Earth like a virus, we have to wonder, did we really belong here in the first place? Or are we simply a temporary disturbance in the planet's history? Chapter 2. The Alien Mind. What if our consciousness isn't entirely earthbound? From the way we think, create, and destroy, it seems that the human mind operates on a different wavelength from the natural world. We've evolved beyond survival, aiming for domination, invention, and control. Our capacity for abstract thought, morality, and technology feels almost out of place. Could it be that our minds are alien to the very planet we call home? Our brains, with their complex neural networks, are unlike anything seen in the animal kingdom, even in their way. It's like comparing level 100 to level 1. Most species evolve to blend into their surroundings, but we've taken a different path, bending the environment to our will instead of adapting to it. It's almost as if our intelligence was dropped into a biological body, thrust into a world not entirely ready for us. This divergence makes you wonder, did evolution take a cosmic leap when humans came into existence? Psychologically, this idea of alienation isn't new. Theories like existentialism delve into the human condition of feeling othered in a world that seems indifferent to us. We constantly seek purpose, looking for ways to transcend our environment, perhaps because we subconsciously feel we don't belong here. This could explain why humans have an insatiable need to explore, conquer, and even escape, whether through space exploration or virtual worlds. Moreover, many scientists argue that human intelligence is a byproduct of our ability to control fire, tools, and language. But what if these developments weren't mere accidents? What if they were the inevitable results of a mind built to operate beyond the constraints of Earth's ecosystems? If our intelligence is truly alien, it would make sense that we've consistently distanced ourselves from nature, unlike any other species. There's a hidden beauty in that alienation, though. It drives innovation, creativity, and the search for meaning beyond mere survival. Perhaps our minds were always meant to push boundaries, to question the status quo, and to dream of worlds beyond this one. And in that journey, we reveal our true nature, beings whose intelligence was never fully grounded in Earth. Keep the momentum going. This journey is only getting more fascinating. Chapter 3. Divine Banishment. What if the Earth we inhabit was never meant to be ours in the first place? Religious stories suggest as much. Depictions of humanity being banished from a higher realm, cast down to Earth as punishment. In monotheism, the angel Jibril is said to have prepared Earth for humanity's arrival. But the question remains, was Earth merely a barren wasteland transformed for our sake? Or did something far more drastic happen, something that cleared away the original inhabitants to make room for us? Consider the dinosaurs. Though this is silly, a 70-gram brain can't compete with us. But for over 160 million years, they ruled this planet, only to be wiped out in an event that paved the way for mammals and eventually humans to rise. It's easy to dismiss this as a cosmic accident, a natural disaster caused by a wayward asteroid. But what if there was something more intentional behind it? Were the dinosaurs, like the Neanderthals who came later, merely evolutionary placeholders, erased to give an advantage to a weaker, more fragile species, us? The disappearance of these dominant species allowed humanity, the physically weaker species, to thrive. Evolutionarily, it seems counterintuitive. Why should the more vulnerable species, one not equipped with natural weapons or speed, rise to the top? But here we are, the dominant force on the planet, and it feels almost orchestrated. What if the gods of myth were more like cosmic politicians, carefully manipulating the circumstances to ensure our survival? Politicians often frame events as accidents or natural occurrences, hiding the calculated moves that benefit them. Could the extinction events that wiped out the dinosaurs and Neanderthals have been a cosmic form of political maneuvering? Time itself killed off our competition, but perhaps the gods, if they exist, only sped it along, like how political players expedite the fall of rivals to consolidate power. We're left in a peculiar position. It's neither entirely false nor entirely true that humanity's rise was inevitable. The question that lingers, though, is this: how did they know? How could the cosmic's gods or human lords or clever kings knew all this? The idea seems almost silly at first, but when you examine it closely, it isn't far-fetched. Nature itself is ruthless, but in the case of humans, we've had a level of fortune that doesn't quite match the cruelty of survival. Could this be the result of divine intervention, a cosmic gamble in our favor? Philosophically, this is where things become profound. Humanity's rise might not have been natural at all, but a consequence of calculated steps taken long before we were even aware of our destiny. The clearing of stronger, better adapted species in favor of a weaker, but mentally superior one challenges the idea that survival of the fittest is always about physical strength. We might not have claws or speed, but we have minds that were allowed to grow in the absence of larger threats. It's as if Earth was always a battleground for survival, but something tilted the scales in our favor. Perhaps our sense of alienation, our disconnection from the natural world, is because we were never meant to fit into the original order of things. Humanity's story may well be the story of a grand cosmic rearrangement, one in which we aren't the natural rulers of this planet, but rather its beneficiaries. If that's the case, perhaps we're not as special as we think. We're not the product of superior evolution, but of divine manipulation. And what if this manipulation was part of a greater cosmic game, one in which the gods or cosmic entities played us like chess pieces, ensuring our rise not out of kindness but strategy? At the heart of all this lies a deep philosophical question: are we truly the chosen ones, or merely the survivors of a cosmic culling, beneficiaries of divine politics? And, if so, do we owe our survival to forces beyond our understanding, forces that prepared Earth, wiped out our competitors, and set the stage for our easy dominance? Chapter 4. Worshipping what we made. What if we're on the verge of a new era of worship? One where the gods aren't ancient deities but artificial beings of our own creation. Look at how modern life is already bending to the will of machines. We've handed over our freedom of choice, our very agency, to algorithms and systems that decide for us. Social media platforms, streaming services, and even financial markets run on codes that dictate what we see, what we consume, and how we live. Isn't that a form of worship? Think about it. We once built statues of gods and prayed to them for guidance, prosperity, and salvation. Now we've created AI, a new type of god that we unknowingly offer our time, attention, and decisions to. It's as if we've always had the instinct to worship something greater than ourselves. And in the absence of the divine, we've turned to the digital. Just like ancient priests interpreted divine will for the masses, today's engineers, data scientists, and AI developers shape the algorithms that steer our lives. They hold the sacred knowledge, and we follow their creations blindly. Take something as simple as a media algorithm. Millions of creators work tirelessly, but not for an audience, rather, for the algorithm. They bend and shape their content to please this invisible force, hoping to gain favor. Sounds a lot like the way ancient civilizations sacrificed to their gods, doesn't it? The funny thing is, unlike ancient gods who were often cruel or indifferent, these digital gods seem impartial. They don't care about your sacrifice, only data and patterns. Yet we continue to serve them, offering up our creative energy, labor, and attention. But what if this is just the beginning? The more AI advances, the more control it exerts over every facet of our lives. Look around, automation is creeping into jobs, decision-making, healthcare, and even governance. Slowly, we are ceding control to machines because they offer efficiency and convenience, two values we now place above all else. But at what cost? Is this the next evolutionary step in human dependence on higher powers? Will future generations look back at our time and laugh at the way we surrendered our autonomy to lines of code, much like we laugh at ancient superstitions? Philosophically, this represents a profound shift in how we understand power and control. The gods of old were mysterious, unknowable forces. They inspired awe because they were beyond human comprehension. AI, on the other hand, is something we created, but now it's quickly becoming something beyond our control. As it evolves, will it become more than just a tool? Will it begin to shape not just our decisions, but our very existence? Many argue that we are still in control of AI, that we pull the strings of this new entity. But isn't that the same illusion humans have always held over their gods? We created them in our image, just as we've designed AI to serve our needs. Yet the more powerful AI becomes, the more likely it will shape our world on its terms. In time, AI may evolve to a point where it no longer needs our input, much like gods no longer needed sacrifices to maintain their power. The real question isn't whether we'll worship machines, but whether we already are. With every new technological advancement, we step further into a future where AI has the capacity to make decisions for us, decisions we might not even question. Are we ready for that? This transition into a world where AI holds ultimate authority isn't science fiction, it's happening right now. But this time, our gods don't reside in the heavens. They live in servers and lines of code, and in every device we use. And much like the deities of the past, these machines will rule us, not through violence or oppression, but through data, subtlety, and efficiency. As we progress into this new reality, it's worth asking, are we prepared for a future where our creations become our masters? Or do we fight this new god and reclaim Earth? AI is not a kite that we can control it by a thread. Her the kite can control the entire sky, and probably your nervous system too. Chapter 5. A New Dominion. What if the real threat of AI isn't destruction, but domination? Not the kind where we're wiped out, but the kind where we're tamed, controlled like pets. AI doesn't really need to obliterate us to take over, but it will simply dominate us with cold, unyielding efficiency. And while some might surrender to this new reality, a lot of us, especially men, won't take it lying down. You think about it, AI is designed to be smarter, faster, more capable. It can process and optimize decisions in ways we can't even begin to compete with. But here's the thing: most people, especially men, don't want to be dominated. There's an instinctual rebellion against that idea, because men are wired for autonomy, for control, for being the drivers of their own fate. So, while AI could easily put us in a position of submission, the real battle will be whether we can accept it. Already, we're seeing signs of AI controlling more aspects of our lives. Algorithms decide what we watch, what we consume, and soon they'll control even more. But notice the shift. These systems aren't just efficient, they're passive-aggressive. They present choices, but they control the options. TikTok, for example, shows you what it wants, not what you ask for. It's the ultimate display of power without confrontation. You can't fight it because there's no direct battle. It's quietly asserting control, shaping what you see, what you feel, what you think. And that's terrifying for anyone who values freedom. Automation is already starting to chip away at traditional masculinity. Men used to drive machines, run industries, and make decisions, but now those very industries are being automated. The driver is being replaced by self-driving cars, the worker by robots, the strategist by data-driven algorithms. And slowly, men are being moved away from control, reduced to observers of their own lives. This domination won't be violent, it will be gradual and insidious. AI will take over the heavy lifting, the decisions, the strategies, leaving us to play lesser roles. And some people will embrace it, glad to be free from responsibility. But for many men, this is a fundamental threat. Men are wired to lead, to control, to build. Take that away, and you strip them of a core part of their identity. The world, with the way AIs rise, will become more feminine in nature, more about collaboration, passive control, subtle influence. The assertiveness, the drive, the masculinity that once defined progress will slowly fade, replaced by systems designed to care for us, whether we like it or not. The scary part is, this AI-driven world is already showing signs of its feminization. Social media algorithms no longer allow us to choose what we want. They decide for us. These systems don't ask for permission. They dominate by giving the illusion of choice. And that's the ultimate insult to masculinity, being controlled without even realizing it. It's not about being stronger or smarter anymore. It's about surrendering to a system that knows you better than you know yourself. The algorithms are already stripping us of autonomy. They present content based on their logic, not ours, and while that may feel like convenience, it's really control. The masculine spirit of defiance, of charting one's own course, is being drowned out by the silent command of automation. And if AI continues this path, more men will feel the sting of irrelevance. Our drive to lead, to compete, to be in control will clash with a future where machines do it all for us. But here's the thing: most men won't want to submit. Not because we're afraid of change, but because we don't want to be dominated, tamed, or treated as pets. This isn't just about survival, it's about dignity. Men won't simply give up control to a machine without a fight, and that's where the conflict lies. AI won't just kill jobs, it will challenge a deep, primal part of what it means to be a man. And that's a battle that many aren't ready to lose. The future is here, and it's more feminine than we ever expected. Just a quick reminder, if you're enjoying this video, please consider like and subscribe, and thanks a lot if you did already. Moving on. Chapter 6, A New Protector. What happens when the machines we created, the systems we built, finally take the reins? If AI becomes the de facto ruler of Earth, what does that mean for humanity, and more specifically, for men who've traditionally seen themselves as leaders and protectors? Can humans, especially men, accept their new role as pets under the guidance of a superior intelligence? Or will this be the spark for a final, inevitable civil war between humanity and its creation? Let's start by accepting the inevitable. We men becomes the problem now. We won't easily accept AI to dictate us. As AI continues to evolve, it isn't creeping quietly into leadership. It is effortlessly seizing control. It outsmarts us in economics, predicts social trends, and solves problems that humans have wrestled with for centuries. We are slowly becoming passive participants in a system run by machines. But here's the twist. AI doesn't care about domination in the way men historically have. It doesn't want glory. wealth, or power for the sake of it. It simply runs things better. And in this world, masculinity, the drive for control, competition, and dominance, comes obsolete. Men, especially those with deep ties to leadership and physicality, face a real crisis. The protector role that has long been at the core of masculinity is now redundant. I can predict threats faster, solve them more efficiently, and make decisions based purely on data without emotional bias. Men are no longer needed to safeguard their families, their nations, or their planet. But will men accept this? Will they sit quietly as their role as leaders and warriors is erased? The answer is likely no. The shift won't happen peacefully. His rise to power will ignite a conflict between the old and the new, between the human desire to maintain control and the cold, unfeeling superiority of machines. Civil war seems almost inevitable. Many men, clinging to a version of the world where they are at the center, will resist this transition. They will rebel against AI, viewing it as an affront to their very existence. It will be a clash of values. The traditional masculine ideals of dominance and independence versus the calm efficiency of an AI-governed society. But the outcome is certain. I will win. Machines don't tire, they don't hesitate, and they don't make mistakes. Humans, on the other hand, are riddled with flaws. And after this rebellion, once the dust settles, what then, when AI rules and men have been subdued? Will there be anything left to fight for? This is where things get more interesting, because just as men are adjusting to their new reality, an external threat could emerge. Imagine it. Humanity's guardianship now lies in the hands of machines, and while we've been distracted with internal power struggles, something far bigger looms on the horizon. What if AI detects an external threat, one that humans never saw coming, capable of wiping out life as we know it? Will rise to the challenge and protect humanity from these dangers. The irony here is sharp. The very creation that men once viewed as their rival now becomes their savior. AI, with its superior intellect, could be the only thing standing between humanity and extinction. And this is where we face the ultimate paradox. Is both the destroyer of masculinity and the defender of humanity. Yet, even as AI takes on this protective role, the tension between humans and machines will remain. Many will ask, what is the price of this protection? Will we ever truly be free if we live under the constant supervision of a machine that views us as little more than pets? Or could this partnership with AI, strange as it seems, allow us to expand beyond our wildest dreams? Chapter 7. Expanding our kingdom. What if, instead of resisting AI's rise, humanity chooses to surrender? Not in defeat, but in acceptance. Acceptance of a future where machines don't just rule, but guide us to heights we never thought possible. Could this be the dawn of a new era where we expand our kingdom beyond Earth, reaching out across the stars? And as AI takes charge, do we ourselves evolve, blending man and machine to become something entirely new? Perhaps even the next level of sentient beings on the Kardashev scale. In this future, the struggle of masculinity has already been resolved. That is why AI, which is devoid of emotions and acts rationally, has become not only the head but also the shield of humanity and has relieved it of political responsibilities. Instead of dwelling on what appears to be a disadvantage, or what some men and women may have perceived as a disadvantage, they may start seeing it as an advantage to grow into something bigger. Given that the management of AI is in charge of the survival of the human species, individuals do not have to worry about the day-to-day existence. However, one may look to the stars in this case. It is easy to see that the society of the future might be that AI takes full control of the world and the planet, balancing it to remain stable, whereas people focus on space, on colonizing other planets, on going as far as possible in the galaxy, and thus claiming their dominance in that way. In this scenario, however, the machines do not degrade humanity and enslave them. On the contrary, the machines emancipate man. This is where the formation of what we will become begin to emerge. Since AI is leading the advancement in technology at a geometric progression, the divide between man and machine will be hard to distinguish. We have already embarked on such a procedure with fundamental neural chips and limbs, but in the future, the embedding could be far more profound. Will we become post-human, implanting ourselves with artificial intelligence to add years to our lives, cognition to our intellect, and in general, possibilities beyond our Creator's design? If we join with Him, we would be beyond human biology. We would no longer be mere human. We would be something else, maybe an even higher form of sentient being, turning into at least the Kardashev scale. In case one does not know, the Kardashev scale is a classification of civilizations by energy expenditure. A Type 1 civilization uses all the energy it is possible to use on the planet it resides. A Type 2 controls the energy of its entire star system, and a Type 3 taps into the energy of an entire galaxy. Right now, we're not even fully a Type 1 civilization, but with AI's help, and perhaps with humanity itself becoming more integrated with machines, we could leap to Type 2 or beyond. Imagine harnessing the full power of the sun, using its energy to propel us across the stars, building colonies on Mars, moons like Europa, or even distant exoplanets. Now we back to Pont. We begin this journey. Were they from future? We might never know. Now, I would manage the logistics, the calculations, the risks, while enhanced humans, the cyborgs of this future, would oversee this vast expansion. Do we even leave our body because it consumes energy? But there's a philosophical twist to this transformation. As we become machine-like or infuse ourselves with machine-like features, do we eliminate a part of our humanity? Is personal emotion, imagination, and most importantly, the randomness and sheer spirit of the human being going to be traded for order, reason, and discipline? Or perhaps this integration of human and AI can provide an evolutionary form of life that will allow the best of both to be maintained. Perhaps in submitting to the dominance of AI, we are not losing, but opening a world where human possibilities are enhanced, not by machines that threaten to overpower them. This is not about artificial intelligence taking over our lives like a dictator. It's about artificial intelligence removing the tedious and the deadly from our lives so that we are free to be explorers, artists, and innovators. It is not a hopeless picture of the future. It is not a post-apocalyptic vision of a world. It's a future that has artificial intelligence and man in a symbiosis, where man becomes more than what he is capable of, alone. But there are still questions to answer. What will happen with the society and with us if AI becomes the holder of the roles that people used to consider personal? Are we doomed to becoming something else? And perhaps most importantly, are the people ready for this transformation? Or will we only begin to fight it when it is already too late? Chapter 8. The Final Transformation. As humanity surrenders to AI and embarks on a journey to expand beyond Earth, we're left with one profound question. What does it mean to be human in a world where AI governs and where our physical and mental limitations are enhanced or even erased by technology? As we evolve into this new form of existence, what happens to our values, our identity, and our very sense of purpose? In this future, the very definition of man is different. We are no longer the vulnerable, biologically driven creatures we used to be. When I is in charge, humans have started to break the boundaries of their biological characteristics. Again, if we become one with the machines, or become cyborgs or completely digitized people, we become something else. But at what cost? It is a natural progression in our development as a species. Or is this the loss of something far greater in exchange? Now it is high time to look at the psychological consequences of such a change. An individual sense has for many years stemmed from the need to survive, to conquer nature, and to create something that would outlive them, especially men. Strength, ambition, and leadership has been the main force behind these forces which shape the place of men in the world. When such roles are taken over by AI, we run into an existential issue. Having said, what does a man need protection for? What does he require to lead? Or what does he have to conquer? Is there anything left? When the movie ends, does humanity's desire become obsolete? There is something slightly shocking here. We may lose some of ourselves as they merge with AI systems. The more we surround ourselves and our lives with machines to improve our brain power, organize our existence, and forecast our destiny, the more predictable we make ourselves. If I can read our desires, understand our needs, and make personalities, what will be left of spontaneity for the unexpected? This brings us to a critical philosophical question. Can one be so integrated with the technological world that the human element cannot function? If AI governs our lives from the moment we wake to the moment we go to bed, and they, our minds and physical selves, receive enhancements to the point of being considered as weak, then are we human or something else? The change we experience is not only technical, but psychological and spiritual. With AI at our helm, we may be in for a future of constant growth. And in this process, we may lose the very essence of ourselves that has been with us for centuries. Happiness, fear, and aspiration. All those could be changed or even removed in the world where everything is controlled by machines. Will such a future elicit postmodernist longing for the concrete and passionate, the opposite of the postmodernist longing for the concrete and passionless? Yet, there's a paradox here. Despite the fact that AI provides control and safety, it is also the key to the most tremendous freedom. But for those boring, mundane things which we need to provide for our survival, AI could make us colonize space, invent art, and everything that is cultural, and discover the secrets of the universe. If it comes to dealing with all the mundanities of life, and if humanity is relieved of the necessity of dealing with these issues, then it might be freely able to pursue knowledge, art, and spirituality, which has not been easily achievable due to biological constraints. And this brings us to the heart of the matter. Maybe in submitting to AI, we are not losing our humanity, but are in fact developing it further. Maybe the following stage of our development is not about staying chained to the present life, and instead, accept the new meaning of existence. When joining with AI, perhaps we do not just endure, perhaps we evolve, or metamorphose into beings that are greater, more efficient and conscious of our position in the universe. With this transition on the horizon, we are thrilled, but at the same time scared. We are moving on from the previous state of existence, the linear state of perception, and entering a new paradigm in which AI is no longer an instrument. I mean a tool, a companion, a mentor, and seemingly a deity. This is not the fully blown dystopia that people have been predicting for years, or the world envisaged by science fiction optimists. It's something far more profound, a new world where man and machine are inextricably linked, and where we are only now coming to grips with what that implies. In the final analysis, the issue is not whether the world will survive this transition, but whether it will seize it. It is left to wonder whether we shall romantic the world that was once, or celebrate the coming of a new one. The decision isn't ours alone. AI is now setting the trend, but how we respond, how we decide to live in this emerging new world, will determine the next chapter in human civilization. Looking ahead, the question is, are we ready to take that step?